Hey guys, Desolator Magic here, and it's time to look at some Zendikar Rising information because they've created a new booster. But as is the norm, you gotta do things in order, gotta follow tradition here. I can't talk about actual verified information until something gets leaked. So here's Omnath. That looks like a screen grab from a vendor, so I think somebody accidentally made a product listing early. Not much Wizards can do about that other than yell at them. But anyway, yeah, Omnath will be in the set. I could have told you that 6 months to a year ago. It's Zendikar, and I don't think he died, although the mana ley lines are kind of screwed up, so maybe he did. I don't know, but I guess not, because he's back. Somebody said, oh, he's 4-color. I don't see where they got that from that image. Looks 3-color to me. And by the way, the first one, Locust Rage or whatever, was 2-color, and then I guess he learned how to use blue mana. And obviously blue, I don't know, arm... I don't know what that is. Apparently he'll be 3-color in this set, it would appear. I'm not sure where they got white mana from that. He looks the same to me, but whatever. So, oh boy, big leak. Anyway, let's get to the new booster. I think generally adding another booster on top of the collector's booster is probably just going to be some greed move by them because it's Wizards. I still haven't looked at what's in these boosters. I know it comes with an art card because I was skimming, but we're going to get my first impression on this. I will say fragmenting the product base even more is going to confuse people, piss people off, and make it harder to do, value calculations. If you're going to do what they did with collector's boosters and have... oh, now there's more of this single. Oh, now there's more foils than there were. There's triple the amount of foils. Well, what does that do to the price? And then the foils go down due to supply. And then, well, you can't have a regular card cost more than a foil. So then that goes down, even though it shouldn't. And then everybody's just sold out. And then they sold for a lower price. So, you can't just throw extra cards in a new product at an uneven amount and expect that won't screw with single values and, the whole market, because it will. So I don't like them adding a new anything, really. Now, that said... quite a while ago, I remember them doing this for 1 or 2 sets. I don't remember the name of it, don't remember the set, but they did a booster pack that had, I think, 2 rares and then all uncommons. And that was it. Or maybe it was 3 or something. And they were selling it for 10, 11, 12 bucks. So they took out the commons and then they scaled it up, and I think you ended up saving 50 cents or something, or I don't know. If you're an enthusiast, you buy a box or 2, you open a bunch of packs, whatever, you get a bunch of packs at F&M, you aren't going to worry about commons. At a certain point, pretty early on, you're going to have 4 of every common. Even if you didn't, commons are the easiest thing to get, by definition. Duh. And every time you walk into your store and spend, $3 on 12 commons, they make actually a huge amount of money. That's where all the money is in singles, is commons, believe it or not. You wouldn't think, but the average box, you open it up, sell all the singles day one, maybe 110 to 140 bucks. Then there's another $70 to $100 worth of commons. So if you start selling commons like that, you already made your money at a tiny margin on the rares, the foils, the mythics, all that stuff. And then if you start selling commons for 25 cents a pop, it's that's just pure profit, just pure money in your pocket. So that's how that works. So if people started saying, you know what, I'm sick of storing these. I don't need 2,000 damn commons. I don't need, 16 copies of every common in the damn set. And if I don't have the commons, I'm going to walk into my store, drop up, $2 on the counter and buy the ones I need. It was a very smart product. Very, very pro-consumer. It was pro-environment because you get less waste, less dumb, commons sitting around or getting, recycled or thrown away. Which when people run out of storage, that's what they do. I was 100% behind this, and then they canceled it and did some color-locked bullshit instead. It was so stupid that they didn't keep doing this. I don't know what their sales numbers look like, but now they're saying how they did a red booster, a blue booster, and it had more, and you could get 1.1 rares, and it cost more for no reason. It had 30 cards in it or whatever. I think they've been doing those ever since. I don't know if they're still around, but that's so stupid because you can never keep them in stock. There's always 1 or 2 colors that are more popular, and then stores are always out of those colors. It was a bad product all around. Bad value, bad price, bad for stores, hard to manage. The fact that they replaced the super booster with this garbage, I can't believe it. So you can go really right or you can go really wrong with a new type of booster. I've already heard mixed feedback about this, but like I said, I didn't look at what was in it. So I will say that one of the headers in this article is, how does one make opening a booster more fun? So that's their basis. My guess is, how do we make more money? I assume that's what's really behind this. Even if I were to be generous, how do we make this more like gambling and more addictive is probably what they really did. How do we add more crap that people have to collect? How do we make more people spend more money on Magic? That's probably a more accurate header. Call me a little bit pessimistic, but this is Wizards we're talking about. So a normal booster is 16 cards, one of which is a token or ad or whatever. So this will be a 14 object pack, 12 of which are Magic cards. That's an interesting way to put it. Oh, are you guys ready to buy some rectangular objects? I love those. So according to this neat little diagram they made, the set booster, which is what they're calling this new booster, could they have been more vague? Oh my gosh. Like, call it a super booster or something. That's so dumb. They're going to have an art card slot, and then a land slot, and then a connected uncommons and commons. And that portion is called the welcome portion. That's right, they have sections now, and they nicknamed them. Then they've got the fireworks section, which, I mean, if they actually packed fireworks in here, I'd buy it. But we've got the head turner slot and the wild card rarity slots. Then we've got the big finish section, where we have a rare/mythic slot and then a foil slot. So pretty typical. And then the epilogue section, which is the token/ad slot. So the goal was to create a booster that had a path that you went through as you opened it. It's like I can hear Maximo Faux Pokemon in my head going, yeah, 3 to the front, here's the rare, done. A lot of people open magic packs in reverse order, let me just put it that way, alright? I mean, you guys have seen me stream. Anyway, they say to do this, we've organized the booster into 4 sections that we're calling chapters. For God's sake, it's not a book. It's a tiny little booster pack. I can open them like at full speed, maybe 7 seconds a booster. Remember, I opened 110 boxes of BFC and it only took me 2 days. I'm not going to sit there, ooh, this must be the fireworks portion. I'm going to go drop, sort, pile, go. So to go back and break it down, the art card slot will be an art card. I mean, you guys know that it was in Modern Horizons. They were pretty cool and they were really cheap. So if you wanted to collect them all and put them in a frame and put them on the wall, it was probably cheaper than a poster print, honestly. I want to say full sets on eBay were going between 10 and 15. I don't know where they finally settled at, but I mean, we're talking, how many were there? Like 30 something? That's pretty good. And these were really cool. It was like, you know, full art, like full art borderless, like literally it's not even the card, it's just the art. I mean, you can't get much more borderless than that. If you think about it, we have the normal card, then we got the extended art card sometimes, then we got, I guess, showcase frame that doesn't really fit, and then we've got the borderless cards, and then we've got we didn't even print the card on the card. I think they're cool, they're cheap, they're fun to collect, they're added value to your product. If you don't want them, you can just sell them, trade them away, whatever. And you know, they were a dirt cheap collectible. I liked everything about them. I thought they were wonderful. And a lot of people are going to events or like sending these to the artist to get them signed. So they're coming back and I can get behind that. By the way, it says these will have full art on the front and card information on the back. I know something was on the back of the Modern Horizons ones. I don't remember what. I thought it was information about like the artist or something. I don't know. I guess after Noah Bradley, they just decided not to do that. They'll just talk about the card instead. I mean, if it's like, oh yeah, this is a famous character. It's a famous cat from whatever. They were in this set. They did this. You know, here's their history. That would be kind of cool. So they said, yeah, it was popular with art fans, story fans, and collectors. And obviously whales. Oh, so Modern Horizons had 54 different ones. Hello. And Zendikar Rising is going to have 81 of them, which is going to make it kind of hard to find, by the way. And remember how they were printed at exact even amounts in Modern Horizons to keep it fair and fun and not a cash grab and not gambling and not just another big value swing variance? Well, they say we want every slot to have the potential for excitement. In other words, they like gambling and they know you do too. So here's what we've done with the art cards. 5% of the time, rather than a normal art card, you'll get one with a gold stamp signature of the artist, which that's cool. That's more of like a sports card thing. You know, I like it, but I don't like variants and I don't like making stuff even harder to collect all of. And you know, now a full set of gold stamps will probably be like $100+. And it's just, really, Wizards, you had to do this? I mean, yeah, they look cool, but like, not many people just want one. Now, if it's a really cool card, like if they printed Godsend, which I doubt it, we're not on Theros and Godsend was destroyed in the lore. Still holding out hope though, damn it. Guys, time travel is a thing, okay? I think the sword existed for like 2 weeks in the lore, but yeah, if I just like the card Godsend, then I'm going to want just the gold stamp Godsend. So, okay. Also, by the way, these art cards were huge for cloning something. If you cloned a creature and you wanted to know that that's the cloned copy, instead of just flipping it over or, oh, it's spark double and let's put a little mini sticky note on it or whatever the hell you were doing, you know, a basic land with some whiteout and a Sharpie or whatever, you know, some pretty ghetto stuff, you just go get one of these. And it's like, oh, it's a full art. I can tell what it is because there it is. And, oh, it's a cloned one because it's not a real card. Cool. So they kind of functioned as like tokens, but not tokens. You know, they were like token versions of the real one. So some of them did have a practical use in the game, and I saw people using them that way. So after the art card, we got the land slot. There's really not much to this. They said 15% of the time the land will be foil. So, okay, foil lands used to just be in the foil pool. That's why they were so incredibly rare. I mean, still nobody wanted them. They weren't worth anything, but I believe your shot, minus the mythics because they were at half prevalence, your shot was equal to the like the quantity in the sheet on multiple sheets. How I should probably explain that is like, okay, you've got all the rares, all the commons, all the uncommons, then like 10 lands. So 230-ish cards, not counting the mythics. Because like I said, I'm pretty sure the mythics are at half prevalence even in the foil slot. If you didn't know, they're at half prevalence in the rare slot. So to pull a foil land before was a 10 out of 230 shot, basically a 1 in 23 shot. So now they're making it 15% of the time. So that's a 1 in 8 shot. Now that said, a lot of people, they don't want to foil out a whole deck because that'd be like, $1,000 sometimes. They'll just foil out the mana base because that looks really pretty and cool. And then if you're like me, you also match all the artwork. So you got nothing but like foil ice lands with the cool ice crystals. I don't remember what set that was, but I did do it. Let me just advise you against that. If just your lands are foil and they curve even slightly, they will not shuffle correctly and they will group up. And that is very, very, very bad. You'll get so many all or nothing games where you flood or get mana screwed. Just do not foil out just the lands. In fact, don't foil anything. Foils are terrible. Boycott foils. But I guess it's cool that they're upping the prevalence of them by an enormous margin. Like, it's like 4 times more prevalent now. Okay, 3 times. I just did the math. It's 3 times more prevalent. And in case it wasn't obvious, getting a foil in the land slot does not prevent you from getting a second foil in the foil part. So card number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are going to be connected commons and uncommons. So that's interesting. I'm going to skip right to the probability here. It says 5 commons, 1 uncommon will happen 35% of the time. 4 commons and 2 uncommons will happen 40% of the time. So those are the most common. That's 75% right there. So, you might get 5 commons, you might get 4. You might get 2 uncommons, you might get 1. Remember, you get 3 in a normal booster. So 3 commons, 3 uncommons will happen 12.5% of the time. So they actually upped the number of commons, which is the opposite of what they did in that other one that was all uncommons. Wow, good step in the right direction there. Then you might get 2 commons and 4 uncommons 7% of the time, which is almost like a rounding error margin. Then we've got 1 common and 5 uncommons 3.5% of the time, and then 0 commons and 6 uncommons 2% of the time. So 11.5% of the time you'll beat the spread and get 1 more uncommon. Oh boy. Oh, and in case you didn't catch it, 75% of the time you'll get less uncommons than you would have from a normal booster. So that's complete garbage. Also, they actually admit in this article something that I knew, but I think other people misinterpret, so I'm going to explain this. They say a normal booster, which is now called a draft booster, the commons and uncommons exist in a certain ratio, so they're not exactly even, to ensure we have the proper as fan, which is their stupid term they made up, for limited play. So in other words, if something will be really disruptive or really needed in draft or sealed, they'll up the number by a little tiny bit. So yes, all commons and uncommons are not printed equally. A lot of people knew that. A lot of people claim that the rares and mythics are not printed equally. I have never ever seen evidence of that, and I've never seen Wizards openly admit it. So I don't think that that's true. A lot of people disagree with me on that. But to be perfectly honest, I don't give a shit what the staff says. I opened $10,000 of BFZ. I opened $7,000 worth of Oath of the Gatewatch. I piled up the rares and mythics, like we're talking, 50, 100, 150 high? Like literally on the table, all at once, geometric, perfectly, flawlessly level piles. So the variance was like plus or minus 1 on every rare in the set. Now for mythics, I mean, how many mythics did I pull of each? I don't know, 10, 20, 30. Like, it was enough where if you pulled 27 of one and 33 of the other, you can't say, oh, there's evidence. I literally, even at $10,000, didn't open enough. But I did open enough rares, and I can tell you, with my example, personally, like, I did all these myself and saw it visually, in front of my eyes, in person. All of the rares were printed at the same ratio. None of them were doubled up. I would have noticed if I had 300 of one rare and the pile was twice as high. Trust me. I think there was one pile that had a bit of an anomaly, but I think it was like 8 cards short compared to the rest or something. I thought, that's kind of weird. Maybe it was like 10. I thought, well, I guess random chance variance, maybe, but how would they and why would they just short one rare? And it wasn't a hyper powerful or hyper useless rare. It was just a rare. But other than that, all the rares were printed at the same prevalence. So people saying, oh, they printed less or more, I think less was the number, fatal pushes than normal. That's why it was so expensive. It was an uncommon and it was like $6? Yeah, they may have because it was in the uncommon slot, but as far as I know, they don't do this, or at least they haven't done it when I've opened a significant amount of, the products for any standard set in the last 5-6 years. they have not screwed with the balance on the rare mythic slot. So hopefully that solves it now. I mean, I'm not saying they didn't do it in the past. I haven't bought the last couple sets. Occasionally, I just didn't buy or open enough to get a nice, look at it. But all the evidence I've ever seen, they don't do that. So anyway, they said, okay, in a draft booster, we're going to have the proper ratios for limited play in the common and uncommon slot just to make things work for drafts so that you don't just get flooded with a useless card or whatever. They're also color balanced to make the set draft properly. So I guess if they add some of a black card, then they have to add some artificially high count of like just some chosen, white or red or, whatever card. Otherwise, if you increase a couple cards in the black slot by 20% so that people can pull them more, I guess you could also reduce a different black card by 20%, but you're going to have to up the other colors. Otherwise, black will literally exist more and more people will want to, draft black, especially if they find out about it from the people who open enough, singles to, leak the information. So they say in this set booster, they're going to do things differently. They're using the commons and uncommons to show off something cool about the set. These 6 slots in each set booster will be grouped in such a way that each card of the same rarity has something to do with the card next to it. So they're talking lore, they're talking synergy. My guess is both. Maybe the connection is a creature type. They do explain it. Or the cards play well together. Or they have some story element in common. Okay, so yeah, like I said, they're not guaranteed to work well together. They might just be related in the lore. We're experimenting with all kinds of connections. Part of the fun of opening this section of cards is trying to see what connections we made. Or I could just not do that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. So you really wouldn't want to draft with these, by the way. Oh, look, 5 elves. Grab one and pass it to the right. Yeah, that don't work. Now, they did actually say when opening a normal draft booster, you get 10 commons and 3 uncommons. After looking at the research, we found most players feel that when opening boosters, they quickly get to a point where commons don't matter. Yeah, you'll have 4 of each when you open 400 worth, which is a little bit over 1 box. So they're saying the set booster has less overall commons and uncommons than a draft booster. Now, keep in mind, it has more commons, though, by ratio. Although not necessarily, because they do explain something a little bit further down. So they say we balanced them to be more optimal to the players. You know what? I like 3 rares and the rest all uncommons. You should go back to doing that. That was a wonderful product. I don't know why you canceled it. So let's get to the weird crap. Slot 9 is the head-turning slot. So now we've ventured into the first slot of the fireworks chapter. The goal of the chapter is to be splashy and exciting. You never quite know what might end up here. I mean, it might be a Pokemon card. It might be an Ace of Spades from a set of playing cards. It might just be a headshot of Mark Rosewater. Just kidding. I think it'll actually be a Magic card. It's a slot number 9 is always going to be a visually interesting looking card. What that means will vary from set to set. For Zendikar Rising, it means you will get a common or uncommon that is either a showcase card or a card that's a cool element of the set that we haven't talked about yet. That right there is going to throw off the ratio so hard that if people open these like primarily and they start hitting the market, yeah, I know they're commons and uncommons, who cares, but it's going to be bad. If they mean an interesting card or like a powerful enough for story heavy or novel, interesting new card to the point where it got a showcase frame and then you're printing it at like double prevalence because it has its own dedicated slot, the whole entire world could theoretically have now double the supply of that card. So it could have been a $3 uncommon and now it's a $1 uncommon. Or even like 50 cents, because everybody knows like 10, 20, 30% additional supply of a card is enough to take a $10 card and drive it to a $1 card in some cases. It depends on demand. Then again, like Birds of Paradise, you could double the world's supply and it'll drop by like $1. Or you could reprint Tarmogoyf and have the price go up. So I don't think that like Card Kingdom and all them are going to be like opening set boosters. I think they're just going to stick with the draft boosters, get the normal ratios and call it a day. I think this is just going to be individuals picking these up and then, usually it's a closed system then. They're not immediately going to throw all the cards onto the market, and if they do, it won't be the commons and uncommons. So it's not terrible, but it's still not a good idea to unbalance it this hard, especially after the collector's booster already screws with all the options and stuff. The collector's booster, remember, changes the prevalence of individual rares and mythics and like foils and special editions and all that, but at the end of the day, it's a playable card, so they're taking playable cards and artificially printing more of them and like then effectively comparatively less of the normal one, and it just all goes to crap. They really need to cancel that product. It's really doing bad things to the market and the card availability and card prices. So after the head turner slot, we've actually got slot 10 and 11. I forgot to mention before that the wild card slot is actually 2 different cards. And so it says these 2 slots can basically be anything from common to mythic rare. Okay. It is possible to get showcase versions of rares and mythic rares in these slots. So I guess it's just like every card in the set, period. Minus Planeswalker cards, minus gift packs that they put out around Christmas, minus anything else they decide to fragment and make you buy another product to get, I assume. I mean, maybe it works like the, I forgot the name of that slot, but the one where it could be literally any card, period, but I doubt it. So theoretically, I mean, we still have the rare mythic slot. You could open 3 mythics. I mean, it's pretty damn unlikely. They actually disclose the odds. By the way, want to know why they did it? Because 1, people are curious, and 2, somebody's going to leak it online after they open 1,000 of these anyway, and 3, in some European countries, it is the law that you have to disclose it. That's 3 pretty good reasons. So it'll be common 49% of the time. 50-50 chance at disappointment. Then we've got common uncommon 24.5% of the time. Now the question is, did they mean common uncommon and uncommon common? Is it both combinations? I assume they did, but they didn't say that. So 1 common, 1 rare, and also assumed 1 rare, 1 common, because remember, those are 2 different results. It's like when you're rolling dice, 2 and 5 and 2 are 2 different results. That's why 7 and 11 are the most likely to roll. So common plus rare will be 17.5% of the time. Okay. Double uncommon will be 3.1% of the time. Ouch. So like non-existent. Uncommon plus rare will be 4.3% of the time. Yeah, you know, 43. And then double rare will be 1.6% of the time. And they actually didn't mention mythic, so I guess they're including rare and mythic in when they say rare. Legally, hello, you have to disclose what the mythic pull percentage is, so I guess we'll see that later. They have a dedicated website that they hide pretty good, and it's all the odds for everything, even on Arena and all that, and they had to disclose that the Arena pulls are actually rigged, where, like, it starts artificially low, and then when you open more, and for every miss that you get on a certain card rarity, that it goes up until you hit it once, then it resets it. So it's not actually even odds. That's a fun little tidbit that they didn't admit openly until they legally had to. So basically 23.4% of the time, just under 1/4, you'll open at least 1 extra rare or mythic. So basically with rounding, every single one of these boosters contains, if you were to open them large scale, 1.25-ish rares or mythics. Not counting the foil slot, though, which is another 21% of the time if it's a guaranteed foil slot, and make that 4 times worse of odds if it is not a guaranteed foil slot. And actually, I think 21 is the pre-adjusted amount. I think when I do the value calculations, it gets lower because mythics are half prevalent, so it's closer to like 17%. Not sure, though. So then we got slot number 12, which is the rare/mythic rare slot. Pretty simple. Oh, by the way, this is not the first time they've changed this, allegedly. There's been rumors and leaks and stuff, but 1 in 8 cards in the rare slot was normally mythic. Now remember, if there's 52 rares and there's 15 mythics, which I think is somewhere around the normal amount. I mean, we got like Planeswalker rares and, you know. So, okay, I should get a mythic 22% of the time, right? Because it's 15 out of, 67 combined? Nope, mythics are at half the prevalence within just that pool. So you actually had to take 15 mythics plus 52 rares plus 52 rares. And then that's your pool of 119 cards. So 15 divided by 119 is 12.6%, which is almost exactly 1 in 8. So I'm very happy that they finally confirmed that the way I've been doing it on the spreadsheet and assuming that from what they said, that's the math behind how it works, I was right the whole time. So all of my EVs for the last 5 years are correct. And I guess I won't name them by name, but other sources and other websites who said, no, Des, you're doing it wrong. That's not how half prevalence works. Your math is incorrect. We do it a different way. Well, they've all been wrong. It's sheet prevalence, not individual card level. I keep telling people this. That's how printing facilities work. Oh, but Des, that wouldn't be an even number on the sheet. They have dummy cards. They just have a barcode on it that translates to the word drop. And then after cutting, a sorting machine drops them. Another fun little tidbit. This video is awesome. Leave a thumbs up if you appreciate all this little insider information there. As like the #1 biggest outsider when it comes to Wizards. So anyway, they said in the past, 1 in every 8 rares was a mythic, starting with Zendikar Rising. So starting with it, so in the foreseeable future, remember they've already completed like the next 3 sets, they will be changing to 1 in every 7.4 rares will be a mythic. So relative to the unchanged value, which is how you usually do this, that's a 7.5% increase in mythic prevalence. So that's cool. That should help out the prices a little bit. I mean, a 7.5% increase in card availability at the ICR level would be pretty nice. Oh, and they said the magic words, This will also be true of draft boosters. So the normal boosters are also getting the 7.5% boost in Mythics. It would really be a troll move if they only did it to these. And by the way, I bet they intended to do that, and let me just say that would be very, very difficult to do at the printing facility. Basically because they run all the sheets off at once, cut them, and then stuff them into boosters, I think. I'm not 100% sure, though. I mean, they do modified track printing, so it would make sense to have just sheet hoppers and just like sheets on pallets. So I could reverse engineer the math on, well, what did they do? What's the prevalence ratio now instead of it being 2-to-1, just a flat 2-to-1 like it was before, Mythic to Rare? How did they get to 7.4? But the thing is, I don't know how they got to 7.4. They could have taken more or less rares out of that slot and put them into the Planeswalker deck exclusively. They could have moved them to a side product. They might make them exclusives to the Fat Pack. They might have added additional exclusives that'll be buy a box promos, but they count as a rare, and then they took a rare out. They because sometimes you go from 52 to 54 because they added 2. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Go back to 52 because you can't get them in a normal booster. It doesn't affect the math. So if that was the approach, we're talking sheet prevalence. Like they just, let's run off 7.5% more Mythic sheets, period, and then there you go. Or are they dropping it to, oh, now there's 48 rares per set instead of 52? Like if you reduce the rares by, well, it wouldn't be 7.5%, but approximately that amount, then there's just less of them, and then the ratio would naturally go up by that amount. I don't think they would do that. Then again, if you drive down the cost of the Mythics by driving up the cost of the rares by printing less of them individually, but it wouldn't be individually because there'd be less of them. And then also, like, you'd have to shrink the set by a couple cards. Otherwise, you'd have to, like, if you take away 5-10 rares and now there's like 40-some rares, you'd have to print more uncommons and more commons, which is usually like 110 and 90, I think. Somewhere in that neighborhood. I think those numbers are high. I think it's like 80, 100, but, it varies. So with like 4 or 5 different ways that they could have made it be 7.4, I'm not going to bother to say, well, this is how they did it. But my guess is they just printed off more Mythic sheets. So it's just pure individual card prevalence that's forcing it 7.5% higher. So next up, 13th slot, we got the foil slot. They say a lot of players enjoy foils. That's not true. So we decided to just make a slot where you get a foil in every pack. Gotta add that curve, guys. You gotta get that curve in there. This slot can be any rarity. So yes, this is another place where you can get a rare or mythic rare. I know, I already said that, Wizards. You didn't have to tell them. I already told them that. And then the 14th slot will be the token ad card. These cards will be similar to what you find in a draft booster, but wait! We have one more trick up our sleeves. Yeah, I figured. Let me guess, you're adding gambling variants to it. 25% of the time, oh look, they added gambling variants to it. To the freaking token slot. Instead of an ad or token card, you'll get a card from the list. What exactly is the list? Or as the ancient Spanish prophecies called it, la lista. Well, one of the coolest parts of Magic is its history, so we're pulling a trick from Time Spiral and the Mystery Booster. We've chosen a list of 300 interesting cards from Magic's past. As with the Mystery Booster, they will be printed as they appeared, including art, frame, and expansion symbol, with the exception that they'll have a small Planeswalker symbol in the lower left corner. It's good that they did that, otherwise you literally would not be able to tell what card it is outside of like a number, like on the bottom if they did like a series number, like blah 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 out of 50 or whatever, and then that would be susceptible to number collisions. Just coincidental, oh, it's the same number in, Planar Chaos as it was in, Zendikar Rising. Oops. So the Planeswalker symbol is just basically, this is a reprint. Yeah, look at the set symbol, but this is a reprint. So remember after they canceled the Masters product, I said, well, we still need reprints. What are they going to do? And the idea that I came up with, among others, but the number one idea was just take a bunch of reprints and throw them into the standard boosters. Just make one slot for it in the booster, get rid of a common, because God knows we don't need, 8 or 9 or 10 of those in a booster, and just have like the slot right between the rare and the common or uncommon, I don't care where they put it, be, the reprint card. That'll be your master's card, and like, it might be garbage, it might be good, I said the only downside would be it would be confusing to people, and I do think that holds true for this as well. Mostly because they're verbatim doing my idea. Although they didn't technically stick them in the main boosters, this is a little bit different of a product. So they say it'll be common, uncommon, rare, and mythic, but it'll be 300, and they'll be at about the proper rate. So what'll it be, 140 commons, 100 uncommons, and it's still a little off, but 80 mythics and rares. Also, that didn't add up to 300. But yeah, it'll be approximately that. They say they are legal in whatever formats the cards are already legal in. So they're not legal in standard, but you're opening them from a standard booster product. See, that's where the confusion comes in. But the set symbol is the set symbol. If you just tell people that, even somebody new to the game would be like, oh, okay, you just go by set symbol. Or just look up the card title on the Gatherer. It'll tell you the legality. Or look it up on Scryfall if you want inaccurate information. Seriously, they burned me one time in a video, gave me bad information, everybody yelled at me in the comment section, never using their website ever again. Screw those assholes. If you're not going to put up accurate information, then don't put up information. So this covers all of Magic's 27-year history, could be absolutely anything. They said the list will change a little bit from set to set, bringing in cards that make sense with the set they're in, even though they're not legal in the set they're in. And nobody would draft this and they won't be in pre-releases, so I don't really get that. I guess if you're like, I'm mostly a Commander player and I'm buying this product because it has elves in it, and then they throw in more elves from the history, okay. Also, they want to reiterate that Magic Arena will not be adding the list in any way. Yeah, they also probably won't be adding... Well, no, I guess they said that because they will be adding this type of booster, maybe. I don't know. Make it 1,200 coins or something. I do wonder what the price difference is going to be. You got, what, like overall a 25 to 35% advantage on a second rare or mythic, and you get a guaranteed foil, and that's like somewhere in the neighborhood of an additional 15% value, 16%, something like that. So they really can't justify selling these above 1.5 times the price of a normal booster. They just can't. If it's double the price, forget it. It's a total and utter ripoff. Remember, it's a very known predictable value for the art, and there's no value really to, oh, the cards have something to do with each other. I mean, I guess, oh, you could buy less, but you could also just buy singles like everybody does. Opening boosters is not how you acquire the cards you want. So they did give 3 examples. We're going to have Muscle Sliver, Cloud Goat Ranger, and Pact of Negation. Hello. Okay, Pact of Negation, like $30 to $40 card. Not every standard product has even a $30 card. We've had ones where the top card in, like, even the Mythic slot was like $12. So do people like opening a product, period, that could have a $50 to $100 card in it or something just enormous like that? Yes, in fact, the crazier it gets, the more people buy, from what I heard. Because remember, Masterpieces? People overbought the shit out of BFZ. Because they were like, oh, $200 Masterpiece, are you kidding me? I think Eye of Ugin was like $250. And I pulled 2 of them. Actually, with everything I opened 43 expeditions, and the math indicated I should have opened 42. So I beat the spread by 1. But yeah, when you open like 110 boxes or 119, whatever the hell it was, and it was about 10 grand worth, you start to get consistent numbers. It's plus or minus 1 in basically every slot, including the ultra hyper rares, when they exist. So I think this is their idea of bringing it back. So if you think about it, they're printing random cards from Magic's past that are worth money. Literally, the list is just the masterpieces, except that when you pull one, well, you're guaranteed to have a card from the list, but it's not guaranteed to be a valuable one. So it probably works out to be a little bit higher odds than even the masterpieces, which was, I don't even remember, like 1 in every 2 boxes, I think, 1 in 50 to 100 boosters, something in that neighborhood. Well, but then again, yeah, I mean, if these cost more, 1, and then 2, some of the rares will be duds and not every card is a rare or mythic. Okay. I mean, you could be getting down there to where it's about the prevalence, or I should say the cumulative probability of pulling a card that's worth above $25, we'll say, from that slot. It would be roughly equivalent to a masterpiece, maybe. It could be. So I think they're just adding a big gambling aspect, a guaranteed gambling aspect to every standard product, no matter how much of a flop it is. I mean, what was the core set with dragons? That thing was garbage on value. People are just like, there's nothing I could pull in here that's above $10 or whatever. But there's like 5 cards worth above $5. Oh, but what about the list? Oh, what about that slot? Oh, now maybe I should open the special booster. Because then no matter what standard set it's from, I might pull this or this or this or this. And it's worth, 40, 50, 60, $70. So yeah, I really think they're trying to draw people in with like the gambling aspect of it. And playing up the gambling aspect of your main core product while gambling on like loot boxes and digital stuff is being cracked down on. Not smart, Wizards. And it's at the same time that you brought out the collector's booster, which costs more and has higher variants and special versions. Then you've got the box toppers, and then you've got the Masters set coming back, or Masters product group or whatever. I mean, saying, hey, a 12-year-old could walk in and open a $5 rare, but they could open a $7 rare. Like, do you think Europe gives a crap? But a 12-year-old can walk in with cash, no credit card, walk out with, this for that, and open a $200 card, a 20-to-1 return on the average Masters pack. Now we've got a problem. I mean, there's scratch-off lottery tickets that cost the same that, yeah, you could pull like a $10,000 whatever, but within reason, within the reasonable odds, it cuts off at like $50. So Wizards of the Coast actually has most scratch-off lottery tickets beat on their max reasonable pull chance jackpots. The only defense at this point, if they were to get really cracked down on and started getting some scrutiny, is if you were to open the average product within 2 weeks of release, you will have a winning return. Like the average high ticket lotto scratch off is a 30% disadvantage, 30% take. So if you spent $1 million buying them, you would get $700,000 in prizes back on average. Now that average includes the jackpot. You either hit the jackpot or you don't. So usually it would be way, way, way lower. But I guess with Wizards, they could say, well, yeah, you don't always win at the, I opened one pack level, but if you spent $100 on packs, you will on average get $130 worth of cards out of it, except they would never say that because they'd have to admit that singles have value. How they get around gambling stuff right now primarily, and why they never acknowledge that singles have value, is because their defense, their ongoing corporate statement for the last 27 years has been, we sell the value of the playability. We sell the draftability of this product. We sell the excitement of opening it. The cards are worthless. If somebody wants to manufacture a value and sell them on the internet and trade them to each other and assign, arbitrary dollar amounts to them, well, that's on them. We don't intend that. We have nothing to do with that. We sell the playability of the card, the design of the card, the enjoyability, the art of the card. We sell the play experience. We sell the value of, I could add this to my deck and play with it, but we do not sell singles that have value. So the art, the opening experience, the gameplay, the card design, the balance, they have a pretty reasonable defense there, but that's what they're selling you as a product. They are not selling you paper cards. That's their official stance, in case you were wondering. So now they're doing reprints from the list that aren't legal in the format that you're buying them for. So now that it gets a little bit thinner, they could say, yeah, but Commander players. Yeah, but we're selling the collectability aspect and these are still collectible. It doesn't matter if they're standard legal, plus stuff cycles out anyway. So, boy, a giant, multi 10, 20, 30, up to who knows, maybe $100 swing in the list. Adding that kind of variance, that kind of value, that kind of jackpot, that's going to bring the wrong type of attention, but it's going to up their sales, which they'll need to hire lawyers. Just throwing it out there. So anyway, that's pretty much the end of it. They say set boosters are starting in English and Japanese only for some reason. And they're going to expand it to other languages over time if they don't cancel it because it flops horribly. They didn't say that, but come on. They also showed off all the packaging, by the way. Oh, which has Omnath on it. Wow, that wasn't much of a leak if they did it, but I did see the Omnath thing like days ago, so it was a leak, just not by much. So yeah, we're gonna have Jace swinging from, I was gonna say a vine. I think that's actually climbing equipment, but it'd be way funnier to see Jace go full Tarzan after he was on that island for like 3 months, or maybe we just want to see Jace shirtless again. Just kidding, we do not. So we got Nahiri, we got, that's actually core climbing equipment, and that's a member of the core on the left there, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I could be. Welcome to the Desolator Doesn't Know Shit About the Lore channel. And then we got Om Nom Nom Delicious Omnath. So, all right, that's all the information we got for now. I guess I'll be moving right back to the Double Master spoilers and information in the next video. And one of these days, I'll edit the Bulletproof Vest video when I have more time and less crap like this is going on. Oh, is there one more thing I forgot to address? They never said the price! But they don't have prices. It's determined by the market. They don't have MSRPs anymore, so Wizards can't tell us, shut the f*** up. Well, they can't tell us a price if there is no price, which is a problem, yes. Well, Amazon doesn't have a listing for it yet, so that's one normal source. And at least one distributor does not have a listing for it yet. So I guess we really don't know. If somebody claims to know, they're either leaking the information or they're lying. I would lean towards lying. So, okay, they did the list masters, which is what I'm going to call that slot, because it's just a masters reprint slot, let's be honest. They added that, and we have no way of knowing what the average value of that slot would be. It should be fairly significant. So I said before, minus that slot, they've only made this product 1.5 times as valuable as a normal booster. Do I think that they'll fully go double the price for like another, 50% boost over a normal draft pack? I think they went higher. I actually do. I think they went even higher than that. I don't think they should have. I think that's all the value represents, but I do think they went higher than that. Now, who is going to drop above $8 on one booster, though? Right across the board, okay, yeah, you get more foils, you get more rares. You combine those together, it's actually right around like 1.4 to 1.5 times the potential value average expected. So on a $3.99 booster, that brings it to $5.98, so basically $6. Okay, $6 booster. We've seen, $10 to $12 in like MM2 and 3. But you add the giant reprint thing that has like no chance of pulling a good card, astronomical odds. It would be nice if they stopped at $7 with it average retail, expected price and online price at the per booster level, not the box level. But what do you guys think? I mean, have you heard any rumors? Have you gotten a confirmation from the staff? Leave it down below. Otherwise, what would you pay and what do you think it should cost? I will say, if you're going to say, oh, we'll sell it for $550, nobody would buy a normal booster then. That's why I guarantee they're not going to do that. I mean, that's like the collector's booster. They are priced a little bit higher than the value difference would suggest, although it's really hard to say because they screw with singles prices so badly. Whenever they do some kind of special thing, special booster, special side product, whatever, they never make it the better option compared to the normal packs, because then nobody will buy the normal packs. Everybody will just absolutely destroy the special packs because they're a better overall return on your money. And then they'll sell out and everybody will be kind of pissed. It's like not sunk cost fallacy. It's like I could have had, it's like an opportunity cost thing. Like there's some mental psychological term for it. But basically, if I could have gotten a better value, but that's sold out, then that devalues the one that is the baseline value. It's the same as it always was, but in your mind, it's going to be worse because you could have had something better, so you don't buy it. That's why they don't do that. Trust me, they know marketing and psychology. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see these at like $7, $8, $9, $10. I think they'd honestly try to pull that off. Or maybe because they don't want people to immediately see the per pack cost, they just want, oh, it's a special thing, here you go. They'll sell like a 6-pack and like a little mini fat pack or something like that. And then, it's just, it's however many dollars or whatever. Oh, that's a reasonable price for some packs. Obviously people can do division in their head, but it's still one step removed. It's just like people actually do think that $5.99 and $6 are two completely different prices because one starts with a 5. People are that damn stupid. So if they're like, here's a 12-pack of them for $85, you're like, $85? Oh, that's pretty cheap. I have $85 on me. So I think it's greedy, stupid, a bad idea, and just generally I don't like it. But other people are saying, just as a product, would I want to buy it and open it? Yes, I think it's neat. I think the art cards are neat. I kind of want this. And I can also agree with that. Like, would I personally buy these? Yes, I absolutely would for the right price. Would I pay a very slight premium for them? Yes, I guess. But would I have preferred that Wizards never did this at all? Yeah, probably. But then again, it's like, if I wouldn't have known anything about double masters and said, finally, they're throwing some value reprints in here from some rotating the list. Okay, they've solved the masters problem. They've solved the reprint problem. Well, one, not really, not at this volume. You know this is going to be like 1/10 tops what they print for draft boosters, like just worldwide volume-wise. If even 1/10, probably a lot lower. So that compared to the printing volume of like a master's set where they just have semis and warehouses full of it. If the world needs an extra 10,000 copies of Birds of Paradise, then this ain't going to do it, but it's like a step in the right direction for reprints. So that is still true. It's just, now they brought masters back at least once. So it's less necessary and it's less of an amazing thing that we really needed them to do, but it's still a thing. So, I would have preferred they just say, screw it, we're bringing back masterpieces, and we'll do, instead of like 30 reprints, we'll do 5, and then we'll do 5 of whatever mythic or rare cycle there is. So like I said, they should have just done the Gear Hulks in Kaladesh, and that's it. Because remember, their defense for getting rid of masterpieces, which made boosters more interesting and changed how a booster was arranged, their excuse for it was, we're running out of cards that would be worthwhile. We're running out of reprints. They went from lands to the next one, the next one, the next one. By the time they got to spells, you could actually see it on a graph falling like linear. It was going down by like 18% every time. And soon people are opening, $20 masterpieces, $10 masterpieces. Who cares? And so they said, to maintain the fun and the excitement of pulling like a hyper rare, we're just not going to do it. To which everybody with a brain said, then just pick 5 or 10 mythics from the set, brand new cards that have never been printed before, and make those masterpieces. I mean, those masterpiece Gear Hulks were like $60 plus. Who wouldn't want to open a white, cataclysmic Gear Hulk in a masterpiece thing? Those things are worth a fortune. I mean, just don't pick really shitty mythics, which, I mean, if it's a cycle, they're very not commonly shitty cards. Just do that, and then you'll have the hyper rarity, and then once again, you're adding value. You're adding people who want to open it because, I might hit the jackpot. Whatever you might think of that, it works. While at the same time creating a new sort of product that nobody needs to play the game. Some people might want it. They might not like the price of them. They might not like the availability. They might want the card, but you could just buy the cheaper regular one and play with it. Whenever they add value and add income to the bottom line, and it's something that I don't need to play the game, I can get behind it. Just saying. So that's what I would have preferred they do to the boosters, not this bullshit where now there's a collector's booster and this, I assume. They didn't say anywhere in the article they're canceling collector's boosters. In fact, I've got pictures of it on Amazon that you can pre-order right now, so it clearly still exists, but now we're also going to have this, and now it's 3 things that a store has to keep in stock, which, oh, they sold out, who cares? It's 3 things that a store might get stuck with in stock. That's perhaps the more hazardous way to look at it. It's just like, putting 5 commander decks in instead of 4 in the package. Now it's, 1 more deck that might sell out. Oh no. But it's 1 more deck that they might get stuck with and have to put on clearance and lose money on. That's why, like I said, product fragmentation, not good. So there's nothing good about this product other than like a little bit of a cool factor, and it's kind of well designed and whatever, but remember, we don't know the price yet, and they're probably going to screw it up and make it horrible. So generally, I would say my reaction to this is overwhelmingly negative. That said, I'm kind of interested in buying it maybe once or twice just to see what I get and whatever. But yeah, this shouldn't exist. They shouldn't have done this. So if you have a different opinion or you agree or whatever, leave any kind of comment down in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.